Hi guys, I'm Leah Marville and welcome to another life tool video on Be to Become TV. And today we are going to be talking about change. We're going to be talking about why you haven't changed as yet and what you need to do to birth change. You haven't changed as yet because you don't want to. Hear me out before you get upset at me. You haven't changed as yet because you don't want to. Because the cost of leaving your comfort zone is not greater than the cost of staying the same. You have the desire to change, but you are not ready yet to leave your comfort zone. Mostly when change occurs in people's lives, it's when there is a traumatic event or when there is a huge cost that arises as to staying the same. And you find yourself in a kind of wilderness where the only thing left for you to do in that moment is to take stock of your life as is. You know that when trauma occurs or when a life event occurs, let's say for example like death, an accident, or everything stops. Time kind of stops and you get this jolt of reality and everything just comes up to the surface. Who am I? What is my life about? What am I doing? What have I been doing? What do I want? All these things start to bubble to the surface, especially when mortality has been threatened. And that often is a time when people go into deep introspection. That's often the time when people are willing to just put a stop to everything that they have ever been doing and really get clear on what it is that they want for themselves and really get ready to do something different. Because the cost of remaining the same, the cost of the comfort zone now has become too high. And so I don't want that for you. I know we all want to change. Like we're all hoping to do something or go somewhere or be something, right? And sometimes implementing change gets very challenging. I'm challenged with fitness. I'm naturally slim, but I've never really had the desire to exercise. I don't like exercising. I don't like running. I do it now because I've developed the habit, but is it my first thing that I like impulse, or do I derive enthusiasm from it, or do I derive joy in working out like I know some other people do? I don't. And that's my reality. And that's okay. That you don't like to exercise, but you have the desire to look better, to feel better, and even to work out. You have the desire to want that passion. And so I'm saying this to say, I've spent so much money in the past on hiring trainers. I've joined gyms, I've switched gyms, I've done private programs, I've done workouts at home, workouts in the gym to try to figure out which girly am I. I've done the works. And now that I've finally developed the habit, I figured out how. So I have 8 ways in which you can birth change in your life. So the first thing is to face your stuck mind. You have to admit that you're stuck. You have to get really honest with yourself, because having that awareness, that point of awareness, is where you birth the opportunity to create the change. Without the awareness, without the ability to be honest and understand that you are stuck, and really accepting the responsibility, like this is on you. Like the reason this hasn't happened as yet is because I have not made it happen. Until you can get to that place of understanding that you have a resistance in your mind to changing, then it will be very challenging for you to birth change. By understanding your stuck mind, you want to understand what happens there. What is happening in your mind when you're stuck, when this topic comes up, when you're having the challenge of implementing the change? Like, what is happening? Really inquire as to where am I being stuck and what is my mind stuck about. So number 2, feed your stuck mind new information. We don't often acknowledge that we are who we are. We're already set in our ways. Even though we have the desire to change or we have the desire to become so much more, we are who we are already, right? We've been operating this way for a very long time, maybe years, maybe all our lives. So we are cemented in a pattern of who we are already. We're practiced in being this person. But our goal is to get over here. So we're here and we want to change and become more and over here. In order to get from here, we have to break through the barrier. And that isn't going to come easily by just thinking it will. And I think that's where people start to feel guilty with themselves, or they feel defeated because they think change is supposed to happen so automatically. Like, okay, I want this, and I thought about it and I think about it and I bought all the tools and I did all the things, but it's not happening. And that's because it's not practiced. Also, because your mind is not practiced in creating those new thoughts. It's not practiced in creating those new perspectives and the new lens. So in order to create the new perspective, the new lens, and the new thoughts, you have to feed your mind the information. You have to feed your mind the inspiration. You have to feed your mind the motivation to get it to shift, to break out of this space and expand. Create a routine or practice of listening to motivational podcasts, reading books, talking to people who are in the space of change, who have been implementing change in their life, people that you admire, people that are where you want to get to. Lock into that. That is how you create new thought pathways in your mind. There's this saying that I say all the time, and I tell my clients this all the time. You cannot think your way into a new way of thinking, because your thoughts are and have been what they always are. You have to plant new seeds, and those new seeds have to come from outside of you. Think maybe you're learning something new, you're expanding your mind. It's not there as yet, so you have to reach for it and pull it in. Pull in new perspectives, pull in new lens, pull in new motivations. Make a practice of feeding your mind new information, a new motivation, new inspiration. Number 3, understand your heart and your needs. Now, the Bible talks about the heart being the center of your life, out of which all things in life flow. People who navigate the world detached or disconnected from their heart always end up being frustrated, because you're not honoring yourself, you're not honoring your values, you're not honoring what the spirit that lives inside of you. Understand your values, understand what's important to you, specifically to you. You have to block the noise out and get clear on your own voice. What are my needs? What are my values? What do I uniquely like? What am I uniquely good at? And it's okay. Take away the shame, take away the notion that you might be disappointing someone, maybe a family member or a friend or whatever, or even remove the notion that you might be a little weird. You have to really get clear on what's yours, because it was given to you for a reason. We're all parts of this kingdom, and we're puzzle pieces. Your puzzle piece is weirdly shaped because it fits into exactly where you're meant to be, and you have to find that, or else you will be all over the puzzle board before you find your place. So understand what your heart and your needs are. That's number 3. Number 4, know yourself. And when I say know yourself, this is a little different from number 3. Knowing yourself is understanding your quirks, understanding how you operate, your operating system. So for me, for example, I know that I can wake up in the morning and be motivated. I'd be motivated to work first thing in the morning. I'm here in my office, ready to work. And I can go the entire day. But the minute that the sun starts to go down, that's it. My productivity is over. It wasn't always like that. I remember in law school, I used to be able to study all the way through the night, 3 a.m. in the morning. My brain is still going and I'm working and all these different things. But as I've evolved, as I have grown, I've come to realize that my real productive hours are daylight hours of the day. And so I structure my days in a way where I optimize those hours during the day. I will not break up my day and then try to commit to a work schedule at night, because then I know I won't be effective. And so these are the things that you need to know about yourself. And then another quirk that I have, for example, I can't work in an extremely quiet office, or I can't work in an office that has no stimulation, that is just closed in and doesn't have a view, for example, or I can't see people, or it's locked away from people. That is not good for me. And I also have challenges working in a library. I figured this out when I was studying in law school. I never was able to study in the library. I could more likely go on a bench on the field at the university watching a football game and study. I had to really come to understand that about myself. And it felt in many times like, I was fooling myself, like, girl, you are not most productive studying like by a football game. Like, it doesn't make sense. Nobody's productive like this. You have to go into a library. But the reality is that I practice it enough times to know, like, working in a library doesn't do well for me. It's too quiet and I get sleepy, my energy drains, I get low, and then I lose my momentum and I lose my enthusiasm. So these are the things when I say you have to know yourself, know your quirks, know what your needs are, know what your creative needs are, know what your organizational needs are, because some people need those closed walls. Some people need that extremely quiet place, away from people. These combination of things will really help you birth change. Number 5, you have to set clear intentions. Clarity is important. If you haven't seen the thread here, clarity is important. Knowing what it is that you want to create, know where it is that you want to go, know what the change is, be very clear about it. Also know why you want to change. That's part of creating the intention. It's understanding why. What's the goal here? Where are we going with this, right? Set clear intentions. Once you set your big clear intentions, then you can establish smaller intentions of which you can implement on a day-to-day basis. So you can say 15 minutes in the morning, I'm going to dedicate towards creating this change. Okay? And then you once that intention is set, then you move to the next step. But you have to start by establishing it. Take your planner, open it out, look at your week or your month and map it out. What are my intentions for this month? What are my intentions for this week, in order that I implement the practices that walk me into birthing this change, right? So for me, I know that my intention is to work out in the mornings. Before I start my day, my first thing in the morning, I wake up at 6 a.m. By 7:30, I'm in the gym. That's it. So now your mind and your body are programmed to meet you at that intention because you wrote it down, because you set it. Okay, so after these intentions are set, number 6 is you want to decide, because nothing happens without decision. We don't like to fool ourselves with it. You have to decide. Setting the intention is understanding the clarity, know where you want to go and how you want to do it. And then you have to make a clear and concrete decision. That decision means there's no turning back. That decision means you're not giving yourself an out. That decision means that you're not still toying with the idea or mulling over it or giving yourself the opportunity to be lackadaisical about it or procrastinate on it. You have decided. Number 7 is change your environment. Now, you may not always be able to do this, but as much as possible, where you can, creating a new environment or creating a pause in your environment where you can switch it up and maybe come back is going to be very crucial for you inviting new perspective, new thoughts, new ideas, inviting change. Because there's this saying, again, that goes, you cannot heal in the environment that makes you sick. And it's not to say that the environment always is making you sick, but the notion here is that you might need to experience something new. Have you ever noticed that when you travel, more ideas seem to come up? You get a dose of or shot of inspiration. You feel doe-eyed about life or enthusiastic about life. You notice that? And that's because you've changed your environment. You've taken yourself out of what you've adapted to, because our brain, our bodies, our minds are so sophisticated, guys. They adapt to what we are, and we get locked into a routine, a practice, an expectation, and all these different things. And so if you want to invite new perspectives, invite new change, you have to switch it up for your mind, you have to switch it up for your body, switch it up for your senses. Allow yourself to see new things, experience new things. So For example, you can leave home and go to a coffee shop down the road, or leave home and take a walk in your neighborhood, for example, or visit another part of town, go to a workspace in another part of town. But whatever you do, try to change your environment, switch it up, whether it's for a short period of time, whether it's for a vacation, whatever it is. Number 8 is probably the most powerful tool that you're going to want to implement in birthing change. Change is not going to happen without number 8, accountability. Accountability is the most crucial part of birthing change. And accountability can happen in a number of ways. Accountability can happen in a person, but it can also happen in a tracker. So one of the most important features I've created in this planner is a daily habit tracker of measuring your meditation, your exercise, and your vitamins. And in 2024, we are going to be adding new habit trackers in there as well, because we found it to be so very effective in helping people birth change. And so we want to be able to give you the opportunity to implement more habits. But see, there's something magical about being able to see your commitment in front of you, not think it in your mind. The ability to know that you went to the gym on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday gives you the motivation to go on Thursday, because you can see your commitment. It's almost like a silent reward for committing to what you promised yourself to do. Having an accountability person is great as well, because the moments that your motivation might wane, that person might come in as a support and keep you accountable. And have you ever noticed that we tend to be more accountable to other people than we are to ourselves? It's a thing. So this is why having some form of accountability, whether it's a person, whether it's an app, whether it's your planner, whatever it is you decide to do, just find a way to implement some kind of accountability methodology. These 8 practices combined together, you commit to it. Start today in a very small way. Just start implementing a version of all 8 of these tools, or at least 5 of the 8 of these tools, to get you into the space of birthing change. And there may be moments, because we have to be honest, where the journey to change is kind of like up and down. It's not linear, it's not seamless as we would like to think. So when it is that you fall off, it's okay. Acknowledge, maybe ask yourself, why did I fall off, or what's going on with me? Again, revisit what's happening in your stuck mind, and then empower yourself to get back up with your commitment. Get back on the horse and try again. Never ever stop trying, because there's going to be a moment where there's a breakthrough. Eventually a practice that starts as 1 day then becomes 2 days, and then 2 days turns into 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks turns into 2 months, and before you even know it, it's a lifestyle. And that's how change happens. Make the commitment, start today, start with one small thing and get it going. Let's birth that change. I look forward to hearing from you. Let me know in the comments how you feel, how it goes, how it fares. Send me a message, write me a note. I'd like to know that if any of these things have worked for you in your life. And guys, while you're here, subscribe, like, and comment. Love, light, and possibility. Until next time, guys. Love.